So as you guys know, the media has now absolutely abandoned everyone who lost everything in Hurricane Helene. Hell, they abandoned them weeks ago. Leading up to the election, I believe that they thought that the whole situation made the current administration look bad. Maybe it made Kamala Harris look bad. So they did whatever they could to sugarcoat things, and they did whatever they could to quickly move on from the story before the story was over. And the story isn't near over, folks. There are still piles of debris laying in certain areas of North Carolina, and these piles are marked because they believe there are human remains in these piles. Yet guess what? A lot of these piles have still not been properly searched, and there are people out there who can't sleep at night because their loved ones have still not been found. They have already given up hope that these people are alive. They know in their mind they are gone, but at least finding their bodies would bring them some sort of relief, but they're not getting that relief because our government agencies decided to say that to hell with these people. Screw these people. And like I've warned you all, the winter weather is moving in, the cold weather is moving in, and now things are going to get a lot worse for these people. We have people sleeping on the ground in sleeping bags. We got people in makeshift tents. Like I said, we got bodies out here in piles of debris that are going to be covered by snow and frozen soon. It's absolutely insane. It's disgusting. It's heartbreaking. And you would hope that we would have, like our media would cover stuff like this, but they're not. But luckily, there is one man who has gone out here from the mainstream media. And listen, you guys know I despise the media. I despise these journalists. I despise these reporters. But a man by the name of Brian Entin, I'm sure a lot of you all are aware of who he is. I got respect for this guy. I followed him ever since the Gabby Petito case. I believe that he's one of the few people working for the mainstream media that actually goes out here and does his job, and in a unbiased way. He just tries to get out there and get to the truth. And after the rest of the mainstream media has abandoned these people, Brian Entin has not. He's been in the area talking to some of these people about their concerns. And I mean, it's just, I'm happy to see that someone from the media is out here giving people the coverage they need. Because the problem is, like, people like me, I could talk about this story all day. And I do damn near talk about this situation every day. Because it's important to me to get this story out there so people understand how our own citizens in America are being treated. These people need help. They need a voice. And I understand that it hurts my YouTube channel. People are tired of hearing about this story. The videos aren't going to get a lot of views, and I'm okay with that. I'll sacrifice that because I think it's important to get these people's story out. But like I said, I could cover this all day, every day, and I do, but to a lot of people, a story isn't valid unless the mainstream media is covering it. They could come on here and watch my videos all day. I could show you the devastation. I could let you hear from people on the ground and all of that, but in some people's minds, it's not legit or valid unless they hear it from the mainstream media. And that's sad. Because you could have someone who lost everything in this hurricane. They could tell you their story and people won't care. But if the mainstream media tells them to care, then they view it as valid. So that's the way a lot of people's brains are still set up. They haven't abandoned the mainstream yet. They haven't gone to independent media yet. So they look at people like me and they feel like, oh, this isn't a legit enough source for information, even though I'm giving you more honest information than you'll ever get on the mainstream media. And I'm showing you and telling you about things that they will never show you or tell you about. But for some people, they need that validation from the mainstream media. So hopefully Brian Entin gives it to them. Let's go ahead and roll this clip, though, and then I'll be right back with more.
Until you get down here on the ground and see it for yourself, it's hard to believe just how devastated this area still is. In Asheville, they still don't have drinkable water. In towns like Swannanoa, where we are, it's just still a total mess. 100,000 people, that's just the estimate, either had very badly damaged or destroyed homes. And we found coming here that many of them still have nowhere to go. Driving around the outskirts of Asheville, it's hard to decide where to even begin. There's just so much hurricane damage, literally everywhere you look. I got a message on X from a woman named Sarah. I want to show you. It says, "Hi, I'm in Swannanoa, North Carolina, one of the hardest hit towns. We lost our home due to the hurricane. We're getting barely any help."
Nice to meet you.
I met Sarah outside the trailer she's living in with her husband, 2 kids, 2 cats, and 2 dogs. Like almost everyone here, their home was destroyed and condemned, and they also lost their cars and their jobs.
Everybody that I've talked to says they're getting no help.
Their trailer was donated by a volunteer, not FEMA, and they have to pay for their own porta potty.
I had to rent this so that we would even be able to use the bathroom.
So you have to pay for that yourself?
Yes. Yeah, it's $130 a month to rent one.
Sarah's one hope was U.S. Small Business Administration disaster loan. But then she got this voicemail.
This is a call from the U.S. Small Business Administration about your SBA disaster loan application. Due to a lapse in congressional funds, new loan offers will be delayed until Congress provides additional funding for the disaster loan program. We understand how frustrating this delay is.
What did you think when you heard that?
You know, it's been, we already have it so rough, and to not be able to get the financial and, you know, help that we need it's really awful.
Some just down the road have it even more awful, living in tents and small RVs with no power as winter approaches and temperatures now dip into the 30s.
There's times we don't get fresh meat because there's no way to keep it cold. Because you got to choose between heating the house with a generator, especially the ones who have kids, and keeping the food cold.
Wintertime's coming. These folks cannot be forgot about. Just because you don't see this on TV, it don't just go away. This is not going to go away for a long time. We got to get those folks out of those tents and in those FEMA campers. How's it going to happen?
A lot of the locals I've spoken to are particularly upset about a FEMA compound they say is much nicer than the donated trailers that they are staying in. It's hard to see, but this right here, I'm going to slow down, is the entrance to the compound. There's a lot of security. The public can't go in. We drove up onto a hill behind the compound for a better view, and you see how massive it is. A sea of government trailers. It's so organized and secure, so different from how the people we met are living here.
FEMA's not connecting with the county's not connecting with the state, and you got this big rat race.
Volunteers like combat veteran Robbie Ammons say housing is the biggest issue, and red tape. Families left in tents and RVs because of the permitting process, he says.
Next week, temperatures are going to start getting in the 30s at night. We're afraid of more hypothermia, folks that are living in the mountains, and there's probably going to be more bodies laying around if we don't start getting these people in some level of temporary housing. The cold really is the big concern here, Elizabeth. That woman in the piece who played the voicemail, we reached out. She was trying to get that disaster loan. We reached out to the SBA. They said they did run out of money on October 15th. They're trying to work with Congress to get more funding. Her situation is desperate. She has to bundle her little kids up to take them out to that porta potty when they have to use the bathroom in the middle of the night. And she was offered some rental assistance from FEMA, but she says there's nowhere to rent. Everything is destroyed, or the few places are too expensive, or they won't take a bunch of kids and dogs and cats and the animals she has, and she doesn't want to move 2 hours away. So it's a real mess out here, Elizabeth.
You know, I've been hearing a lot about this compound, and just look at it. Look at that massive compound they have, yet they're not doing anyone any favors. They're not helping anyone. And in fact, they're hurting people. They're confiscating supplies. They're shutting down donation zones. They're refusing to help anyone who voted for Trump. Yet they got like a small army out there, basically made a small makeshift military base smack dab in the middle of North Carolina, yet they're not getting anything done. So what is the point of this compound? You came out here and put a whole FEMA compound out here, yet we still got people trapped on the mountains that haven't seen other humans for weeks, months. You got this whole compound out here, yet you ain't dig through the marked freaking piles of debris yet to find the bodies that are buried underneath. You got all of these people out there, yet we still got people who need shelter. We got people without food and without water, yet you're out here with the whole compound doing Lord knows what, probably watching Netflix and playing Call of Duty in your trailers. Now, in my opinion, you see how they made this compound for the FEMA workers who aren't doing absolutely anything at all? Why not make this compound and allow the people who lost everything to live there? If you could bring in this many resources just for these government workers to collect a check for doing absolutely nothing while discriminating against American citizens, then at the very least you could just say, hey, send all those people home and give these trailers to the people that need somewhere to live. But that's not the case because our government's priorities are all out of whack. And I guarantee you most of the people there in that compound aren't there to help. They're there to try to take advantage of the situation, take advantage of people, steal the land from underneath them, give them lowball offers on the homes they lost and the land that got destroyed. I'm telling you, I could go on for days. I could rant for days. But I don't want to always come across as angry, but I'm not an angry person, but when looking at this story, I can't be as jokey and lighthearted as I want to be. You guys know I like to joke. I don't take anything that seriously. But looking at this, I'm just so disgusted by everything, by the way this whole entire situation has been handled. So it's hard for me to be happy-go-lucky when discussing this topic. But yeah, you guys see it with your own two eyes. Hopefully Brian Entin goes out here and he exposes a lot of the stuff that I've been trying to tell you all about. Because like I said, I can expose things and I can tell you things, and the people on the ground suffering can expose things and they can tell people things. For a lot of people, it's never valid until the mainstream media puts their stamp on it that it's true. But just in this little clip, a lot of the stuff I've been telling you about, Brian Entin put it right out there for you guys. So hopefully we'll see more from this in the future. But for now, let me know your thoughts down below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.